San Francisco draws and attracts a certain creative type. The musical scenes here, the art scenes here are always a lot more creative and a lot more wild and a lot more interesting and a lot more going on than a huge city like New York over the years. And Ralph Carney certainly fits in San Francisco because the creative people here are very open-minded about, they want something new, they crave something new. It's not just something, oh, they're open-minded. You know, it's more than that, or, you know, and the things, the cliches people say about San Francisco. They like things that are special.
Well, you know, I love the scene in New York. You know, I think it's easier to do creative stuff out here than in a place like New York. I don't want to like generalize, but I feel like places like San Francisco and places like Akron, Ohio are places where you can do whatever you want because it doesn't matter. But it doesn't, I mean, you still don't, I mean, like, I think you can make more money playing here than in New York, unless you're in the higher echelon. And I wish I was there, but I'm in the echelon I'm in, you know, and I don't know, there's a lot of rich people here that pay for parties and weddings and stuff, and that's one of the ways I make money playing music, and I'm not ashamed of it, you know, because I get to play with some cool bands, and San Francisco's, you know, a good time town from old days. Somebody like me, you know, especially when I was younger, I had some good lucky breaks, and that made me just feel like, wow, it's all happening, and it's all gonna just keep happening in an upward progression. But as you know, most people tell you, and from living life, it doesn't work that way. You know, I mean, I keep my head above water, and I do lots of little projects, and you know, people send me projects to record on in my home studio, and I play a lot of little shows, and every once in a while something big comes along. But the truth is, it is kind of difficult, but it's also, things are changing. Things are changing. Come on, baby, take advantage of me one more time. Okay, well, tonight is a really big shoe, as Ed Sullivan would have said, for my record release series jazz project on Smogvale Records. And I'm playing at this new venue called Beatbox, and so I'm just kind of putting some of my stuff away. I'm kind of nervous, but actually I feel pretty ready. I'm ready. Usually I'm not a front man. I'm a side man. Like that, you know? But I feel we're really prepared. We had a really good rehearsal the other night, and I've been practicing the stuff, and I'm gonna have a great show. Not shoe. Waiting for the man. Yeah, so I guess you'll be here, you'll be pulling up fairly soonish, I guess, in a few minutes, 5 minutes. Oh, he's just putting his shoes on because shoes are good for gigs, yeah. Anyway, tonight is I'm kind of excited.
Did you decided to do
drugs?
No, that's the name of the song.
Just say no. Took advantage of me?
Took advantage, thank you.
It was
on the list.
I don't have the, yeah, but I don't.
It was in the email.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think we're gonna do that in our. Maybe we could do it in the Cottontail set. You know,
oh, okay.
Why not? I mean,
Why not?
There's a lot of interchangeable songs. Okay, he's grabbing the spot. I feel so much better now I'm at the venue, not just waiting around. That's the worst, waiting around. You know. And I play all the time too. I really do. Right? He knows. He said true. It's a truism.
So you make albums by yourself, alone in a studio with a bunch of instruments. Is this true?
Yes, baby. Sometime.
I like all instruments. I like to have at least one representative of each instrument, but I don't know. Mostly I just want to try them all because I just really love sounds and music, and I'm just into instruments. It's just like, oh my gosh, and they all feel so different. Like this feels different than this, and you know, and then when I'm blowing horns, that's different. I will try to play anything that I pick up. Yeah, I mean, I've pretty much tried every instrument. I can't say that I hate any instrument, because you can try to, I think you can probably get something, you know, you just try to, hopefully you can make something good out of any instrument. So I don't have any instruments to hate. And there's a certain instrument I play called the slide clarinet that people come running up. In crowds, they like push people away. That thing you played, what is that? And I know exactly what they're talking about. But I wrote on the instrument, this is called a slide clarinet. No, I didn't make it. Which is, it's cool that there's someone interested in something I'm doing. But it's also kind of strange when you know what someone's going to come up and say. They're never going to go, wow, that was a really great what you played today. It's like, what is that? I want it. But I don't know, it just gets in your head. It's just, and for me, it's just I want to be able to make the sounds. You know, all the sounds from low to high. It's an addiction, man. But I play them a lot on shows. I mean, when I go, like tonight I'm playing, I have a bag with clarinet and flute and a little trumpet and the saxophone. I mean, it's not too many things, but some people go, I get this question a lot. How many instruments do you play? And I always say 42. Because I don't know what the answer is. Like, oh, 42. Growing up in Akron, musically, I just was exposed to all the music everyone else my age and my time was exposed to, from the radio, from the TV, brothers and sisters. And I was also into comedy records, like Bill Cosby, and my dad had a Jonathan Winters record that was hilarious, and Bob and Ray. So I really liked those kind of early 60s Warner Brothers comedy albums. But I didn't really get that involved in music till I was around 14, and that's when I started playing music, and I kind of got obsessed with bluegrass. And then I started on a path at that point with like going to the library in downtown Akron and taking out records of bluegrass, and then I started getting jazz records. Then when I was more like in high school, I worked at a record store and started buying a lot of records. I'd work at this record store and use up my money to buy records. Not all of it, but I'd get a discount. It was called Discount Records, so.
Ralph has a deep jazz background and education. I mean, I think he could be just as snobby as anybody else, I guess, if he wanted to be. But his personality doesn't lend itself to that, and I think also a lot of his influences are so broad. They're coming from all kinds of directions that he doesn't necessarily need to stay in one place, even in one song. I mean, he has a lot of information coming from all over the place that kind of expresses itself in whatever he happens to be playing. So I don't know how you define that. I guess that's Ralph.
So I have a lot of records that I probably should get rid of. The things I get across the street at this bookstore. Here's one. Well, this is the Jolly Minstrels. It's like Renaissance music. So there's that. Yeah. Here is the Eddie Duchin story. I don't know why I have that, actually. Why do I have that? I have no idea. These guys I played with in Akron, the Rubber City Retreads. This is probably the best record cover ever. There's a note, and there's water, and there's a star. Oh, that's a tire, I think. These are all guys that used to work at Rubber Factory, and they played Dixieland. And I in the late 70s, I would go sit in with them sometimes. Now this is a great cover too. Sheriff's Rhythm Posse, Chowder of Hits. They're all like sheriffs playing Dixieland from Anaheim. They're all like right-wing guys, I'm sure, except that guy. He's left-wing. I mean, and then the later part of my life in Akron, I was in my band Tin Huey, because Tin Huey, then we kind of catalyzed into this really great band, and like people from New York came, and then we got a record deal for Warner Brothers in the spring of '78. So that was an interesting, great little time where hey, Akron's a great place to be. It's the weird music capital of the world. So I was on top of the world for a while, and then Warner Brothers. And I remember the summer of '79. Things all kind of fell apart, and they were like, we're not going to really put another record out of yours, sorry. And it was the first record company depression or recession or whatever you want to call it, and we were one of the first people to get cut from Warner Brothers. So that was a real. Then I moved to Brooklyn, and I had some ups and downs, and I got to meet some people, and I ended up playing with the B-52s for a couple of years. And then I got hooked up with Tom Waits, did a couple tours with him. Flash forward to like 80, okay, the last tour I did with Tom Waits was Frank's Wild Years tour in '87 after, and they filmed that, and the movie's called Big Time.
Well, the music that Ralph puts out on his own sets of CDs, his albums. I mean, it's amusing, it's a little crazy, it's fun, life in the fun house. They're about his life, they're about him, they're about his family, and they're funny. The sounds are funny, the arrangements are funny. They're also unique. I mean, again, there's no cliches going on here.
I would say that there's 2 to 3 basic differences when I record for other people, either big profile people like Tom Waits, St. Vincent, or even just local people that want me to do some horn stuff. I pretty much try to do what they want. It's really, 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 usually just saxophones, clarinets, and maybe some brass, and maybe some flute. On the other hand, when I record myself, the difference is I have total control, and the truth is when I record myself, I tend to try instruments that I would never do for other people, and lap steel guitar or Turkish saz, etc. But I try to just do that stuff just to try to build a new kind of thing. I started really digging overdubbing myself. So sometimes I would say, can I just try some stuff? I want to just try overdubbing a lot of horns. So I remember the first time I did that, I just got in the bass sax, and I just did all this stuff like, oh, it's me playing with myself. Wait a second. It's great to play with the band, but it's also like cool, like you're just sitting around, you can just come up with a tune just by yourself.
You can play his music and have fun with it with your kids. And at the same time, it goes to other levels, serious levels of music, musical history, and all the sounds. I mean, some of them, sometimes they'll strike you as funny, other times they'll strike you as sublime.
You know what? I love doing these solo records, but it's really good to have a good band with a good drummer. And I mean, I'm not, like cheap drum machines can only go so far with bongos and stuff, which is my solo records tend to be that, just me trying everything. And then the Serious Jazz Project is the same. It's a similar thing. We're just a band but I ended up doing a lot of the stuff here in the studio. Like we went in for a few days, various days, to just do the tunes, and I leave space for solos so I can take my time to work on them. We did a couple that were there. Since I can work on it by myself, I definitely I try to make sure that I can listen to it later and not cringe. Whereas in the past, sometimes you don't have the time, or you just have to do the best you can. You're in this situation, and stuff with Tom Waits, some of that stuff, well, that was a little sloppy, but I didn't really have a second chance to do it, And I'm not like a perfectionist at all, but I just mean, I can kind of be that way here, but I'm not obsessive about it. If we're talking about my solo records and Serious Jazz Project, it's not that it's changed. I still do things I like The Residents, and I like Captain Beefheart, and people that are kind of on the edge of what is called sort of a naive artist types. I mean, I really appreciate that kind of stuff, and I like real crude stuff, and I also like noisy, weird stuff, like Japanese crazy stuff. But I don't tend to play it as much and live. But it's just not where I don't like to live there all the time. I tend to like the music I was playing with my Serious Jazz Project. That seems to be the music that I feel best playing. So I guess maybe I have changed a little bit, but I just like all eras of music. There's good and bad with everything, there's some real trash from the 20s and the 30s and the 40s and 50s, so I just tend to like what's good. And I have to say that, even though I like noise music and Beatles and British Invasion and fusion and classical, there's a certain thing about sort of late 20s, early 30s kind of Harlem bands, Duke Ellington from then, and Don Redman and Fletcher Henderson. There's just something about that just hits me. But I think what I play best and what I resonate with more is kind of a pre-swing, they call it.
So I think the Serious Jazz Project is a big thing for Ralph, because he's really the leader of it, and it's really his vision 100%.
Yes, well, Ralph wanted a project that brought out his more serious side, and he gathered up some serious tunes, and we seriously studied them. And this is the manifestation of all that seriousness, is what you are being exposed to now, the Serious Jazz Project. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does that mean we can play now? Okay. A 1, 2, a 1, 2,
Most of the people I played with, myself included, I feel like, we kind of got our bag of tricks a little bit. And I don't feel that way as much with Ralph. So it's pretty unexpected. It's off the cuff. Like, I've seen him do the same song, I don't know, 100 times, 200 times, and he'll do it differently every single time. And that's pretty rare. I don't know that many musicians that do that, actually. He'll really, like, play with a lot of different styles. I would say he's kind of like one of the last music beat poets.
There are a lot of musicians that don't take any chances. Of course, most people are afraid to take any chances because who wants to face failure? Ralph takes a lot of chances in his music. But it's a certain kind of courage that goes with that too.
Anyway, what did you feel about this? What did you feel? Do you feel pretty good about the Friday night show?
Yeah, I do feel. I thought it was cool.
We got had some rough moments at first, but I think we plugged away.
Well, the funniest moment was when we started. We were all supposed to say one word, and none of us said it except the drummer.
Moondog Boogie.
Right. Your band's in trouble when only the drummer can remember.
Well, it was, I think that it was just because it was such weird, and it's just, it's so much like the Yoshi show where everything sounded great at soundcheck, and then you get to the gig, like somebody's unplugging things. Yeah, and of course my mic stand kept like,
right.
Like which.
Right.
What are you gonna do?
Every gig has a million technical problems.
Every picture has a something.
Right.
A thing.
Do you
Now that the record is out and I did my record release show, I feel a sense of relief and a little bit of a letdown, but not too much. And then I did a lot of, for me anyway, like at least 4 interviews on the phone. I went to a radio station and I rehearsed the band. There's a lot of pressure. So tomorrow I'm going to collapse into a pile. And I'm just going to do laundry and stuff. But no, it feels really good. I think it's a really good record. It just started. Now it just came out last week, and the people that put it out said, "Really good start. You're gonna start getting more stuff. Believe me." Like, I don't expect anything, but that'd be great if there's more. I'm just glad it's out and you can get it, and we'll just keep trying to get it, and get more. No, I was totally happy with the recordings and then the mastering and the packaging and stuff. And I know that I had 2 records where I was a cartoon. Maybe people didn't take me seriously because of that. Yeah, and I'm definitely going to do another one. And maybe not for a little bit, but I definitely have material I can record. So yeah, I'll probably be doing one in the relative near future. Sometimes I get myself worked up that something big is going to happen, especially when you record a record and you really feel good about it, and then you put it out and you get some initial good press. But the truth is, unless you have a machine behind you, it's just going to kind of die in the vine, especially these days. And so I'm not on the cover of Downbeat, Rolling Stone, all that kind of bullshit. you know, I mean, you know, there's a part of me that's very insecure because, you know, I see other people from, you know, coming up that were in New York that are getting more things going, and you know, and that's great, and there's a real luck element in the music business. But on the other hand, I keep getting cool gigs. I mean, you know, I did stuff with St. Vincent last year and Black Francis, and you know, things like I said, more and more young bands are like, hey man, I want you to play my record. You know, I'm confident that things will fall apart and get better, and you know, everything in between.
They said I like you a lot. I like